love me, and I love you.
Content warning. The stories and themes shared throughout this podcast may contain themes that can be distressing for you. If needed, please pause and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If needed, please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. But you'll notice Alana is not here. But you know who is here? Jacqueline Jensen. She's an award-winning speaker, certified Akashic Record practitioner, and lifelong intuitive who's been chatting with the angels since childhood. After 2 decades in the legal world, she traded courtroom logic for cosmic connection. I love that. Helping others receive soul-level guidance, clarity, and support. Known for her grounded wisdom and warm magnetic presence, she's spoken on major stages and hosts signature events that blend divine insight, real conversation, and high vibe activation with a few laughs along the way. And I know we only met like 2, 5, 10 minutes ago, in person, but holy shit, I feel like we have this connection. One, oh my God, I love it. I like to tell people I'm a woo Jew, like I'm woo and I'm Jewish and wooish. And like I feel like my abilities are slowly turning on, but my mom shows up. So I just want to give you the heads up that Sharon, my mom, might show up during this conversation or after, because when I am talking to people who are open and their abilities are turned on, Sharon usually shows up. And I'll tell you some stories offline, but I love that you left the courtroom to do this work. We need more people like you. Jacqueline, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here with you today. Excited on this topic too.
Yeah. So offline, we should hit record. We learned that we have some synergy. So this show's about resilience, but really it's a space for people to share. And we don't know where these conversations are going to go. She came to me and this show because it's about resilience, and she cared for both her sister and her mom while they both had cancer and they both passed away from it. She also shared with me she had a hysterectomy after battling infertility for 9 years, and you've adopted a little girl, and that's luckily there's not some similarities. I still have my sister, and I am actually waiting to get a hysterectomy. But unfortunately, my mom died from cancer while my dad was dying from cancer. And it was around the same time, it seems like your sister was going through it. And you know, my mom died from pancreatic cancer.
Oh,
Yeah, we didn't talk about that offline. But so we're just going to talk about your story. And I don't know where you want to start, but okay, let's start with this. Did you leave the courtroom after all of this grief, or were you already working in the spiritual space?
So I left the legal field after all of this. I mean, as my bio said, I've been communicating with angels and seeing angels since a kid. So I've kind of been tapped into that spiritual side my whole life. But kind of turning the courtroom part in and focusing on the spiritual happened after all that went down. And some of it is, I think, in part due to because of what happened, what I went through with losing both my sister and my mom. And right after I don't know if I told you this, but right after my sister passed away, my grandma passed away within a month of my sister. And then and within 3 months of when my sister passed away, I had 6 people that I knew personally who passed away.
That is terrible. Okay, let's maybe back up a little, because I want to give your mom, your grandma, and your sister a moment. Why don't you share a bit about the story and their names and about them? And maybe they both had, that's a lot of loss and a lot of like maternal figures and, divine connection. Walk us through the diagnosis, like who learned about what when and who passed away when. And I want to know a bit about who they are.
Yeah. So my sister Elizabeth, she was having some health problems and kept going to the doctors, and they're all just kind of brushed her off and was like, it's nothing, or it's just a cold, or it's just this or that. But she was like, no, I know it's something different. Ironically, she was a nurse and worked in oncology. And long story short, she went and got her own blood work done because they weren't taking her seriously. And that's when she found out that she had pancreatic cancer. She found out it was right around Thanksgiving, 2018,
Yeah.
17? No, 2017. Um, ish. Yeah, 2017. And she fought the pancreatic cancer for 14 months, which is highly
Wow.
unusual for
That
pancreatic
is.
cancer.
That's a long
Usually that's
time.
a fast one once you find out you're gone. But she fought it for 14 months, chemo, radiation, like all the things. And at the time, I didn't have any kids. And so I would go and help take care of her, like in the evenings or during the night so that her husband could have a break. And she also had a little girl too. And so she had a, a daughter. And so I wanted to also be there to support the daughter as she was, seeing her mom dying away, which was kind of rough for that. And
Mhm.
then she passed away February of 2019.
What day in February?
I I believe it was either the first or the third.
Wow.
So like right beginning of February.
Fucking hate February. Elizabeth. I and tell like so she was an oncology nurse. She is a
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
She your younger sister, your older sister. Tell us about her.
She was my oldest sister. And
Oh,
she was one of those people that a way to describe her is quiet warrior. She was one that you would emotional because I
it's
love her.
okay.
I
Please.
miss her. Like, yes, I still communicate with her and I see her from time to time, but it's not the same when they're not here physically, right?
Mm,
Um, and she was one of those who was such a kind, gentle soul that loved, cared about everybody. When she passed away, I didn't realize how big of an impact and effect she had had on people until at her funeral and seeing it was held at a church building and it was packed full from like the main room all the way back in the gym, all the way to the very back. There were hundreds of people that came to her funeral. And it just helped me to see how powerful we can be in our lives and what impact we can have on other people. And being able to have that visual of the impact that she had on others was really cool.
that's beautiful, Elizabeth. And I think what a gift that you're able to still communicate with her and visit with her in a different way, that she's no longer Earthside. And of course, you're so deeply emotional. Like, she's your sister and you love her. And I can't imagine what that's like. Like, that sounds terrible. It sounds just like so heartbreaking. And my heart's broken for you. And while Elizabeth was sick, your mom was sick?
No.
Oh,
Well, when my sister, um, right before my sister passed away, ironically, the day she went home on hospice, when she was like, they said there wasn't anything more they could do. They sent her home on hospice and she passed away that night.
wow.
So it was kind of quick in that regard. And at the time when she passed, my grandma had gotten pneumonia and wasn't doing too well and was in the hospital. And she actually got hospitalized the day of my sister's viewing.
Wow.
And then it was about a month. And then my grandma passed away.
That's heartbreaking. I I don't like what's coming to me is a sense of like your grandma being with your sister. I don't
Mhm.
know. I mean, I hate when people are like, Blair, like at least your mom and dad are together. I'm like, well, they hated each other, so they were divorced. So I don't know if that's good, but whenever. But I don't want to say like at least they're together because we're all here and
Right.
together. But it's almost like this like you know matriarchal way of you know
Connection.
connection. And
Yeah.
were you close with your grandma? What's your grandma's name? Tell us about her.
Her name is Florence. I was fairly close with her. She was my grandma on my dad's side. I was closer to the grandma on my mom's side,
Mm,
but by this time she had already passed. Florence, she was a great lady. She loved to have fun and she enjoyed family a lot and also doing some traveling and having quiet days, at home and visiting with people.
yeah. I yeah, losing grandparents is challenging. Like I lost one when my grandpa, my mom's dad when I was one. I have no memory of him. And I was like I'm really grateful that my dad's dad and my mom's mom both died in their 90s. So I got an experience of growing up with them because my dad wasn't able to help take care of us. He lived with addiction. He was very unwell. And so my grandparents stepped in and helped out. And I'm 40 and my grandma, my dad's mom, just turned 92 and she's still alive. And it's like
That's
this,
amazing.
it's amazing. And I wish I lived closer to her because she's like the last like parent figure, which is terrifying. And 92 feels like, wow, like that's like, am I gonna live to my 90s? I don't know. Like my mom died at 62. Like I have no idea what's gonna happen. But I feel like our grandparents' generation is like this last great generation that, they have these really like full lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said that you sort of like left your courtroom, the law career,
Yeah.
after Elizabeth died.
Yeah. And it was actually after my mom passed away too.
Oh, yes, right.
So my sister passed away in 2019, and then my mom got diagnosed with ovarian cancer and passed in December 2022. So February and December are rough months
Damn.
emotionally
Yes.
because your body remembers when things happen, and that
Girl.
comes back to the surface.
Listen, my sister and I
So
have grief season. It starts in November because that's when the miscarriage happened. My father-in-law died. It's my dad's birthday. December's just like a hard month. This month is my mom's birthday. February is grief season. My mom died and my dad died February 18th and 23rd. And so you better believe our bodies remember,
yeah.
like the grieving body. It's so somatic. So December's hard. And you just got through another December. It's only been a
Yep.
few years, but you did it.
Yeah. So it was, yeah, my mom passed December 2022. And ironically, um, as she was battling that, my dad got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And he had surgery that same month or in the end of November. And right after my mom passed, we had the funeral and everything and checking on my dad. He ended up being septic and had to go to the ER and so I almost lost him
Oh my
in that
God.
same month. Luckily I didn't, and I still have my dad. So I'm very grateful to still have my dad around. I
What's your
love him.
mom's name?
My mom's name is Brenda
Brenda. And what's your dad's name?
Claude.
Law?
Claude.
Oh, Claude. I'm like, Law? Like lawyer? Claude. Well, Claude, you got to hold on.
Yeah,
How's he feeling now?
he's doing okay.
He has pancreatic cancer still?
No, that got all resolved with surgery and everything.
I didn't know
Thankfully.
that pancreatic cancer could be resolved.
No, his wasn't
Oh,
pancreatic.
right. That was your mom.
That was my sister. My
Oh, that
mom's
was
was ovarian.
right. Sorry. I need a cancer map. I need an infographic. My aunt actually died from ovarian cancer. I was really close with her. It's kind of like pancreatic in the way of like you don't know until it's too late.
Yeah.
And since my early 20s, I've been like volunteering for Ovarian Cancer Canada and like just so hyper aware of the signs and symptoms. And now I'm like that with pancreatic cancer. I'm like, oh, I feel weird. And that actually leads me to the next part of this conversation because I'm like, oh my God, do I have issues with my ovaries? Well, the answer is yes. But I was in the hospital at the end of October because I was having weird bleeding. Because I thought maybe my IUD's infected and I'm about to go to Australia to lead a grief trip. I better go to the hospital. And they're like, oh, you have a fibroid the size of a plum and another fibroid. And I know I have endo. I'm like, I gotta get a hysterectomy. Like, there's nothing but betrayal going on down there.
Yeah,
Like, there's nothing good's happening for me down there. And like, you also had hysterectomy.
I did. And interestingly enough, that was the same year that my sister passed. She passed away, and my husband and I were like, life's too short if we're gonna go forward with the fertility stuff again. We don't have all the money that we wanted for IVF, but we're like, we've got enough to start. So I did all that testing, and they also found that big mass and fibroid. Thankfully, it's just a fibroid, but it also resulted in hysterectomy for me. And that was, again, 2019, that same year. So,
That's so do you okay, your medical system's different than ours. Like I'm in Canada, you're in the US. For those of you who don't
yeah.
know, I mean, you wouldn't have known unless you can tell by my accent. But was it a pretty fast process from you deciding, oh, okay, like we need a hysterectomy to getting it?
Fairly quick. It was probably like maybe about a month.
That's quick. It might be like a year for me.
Yeah, no, it was like
No.
a month. But it also was a process for me to make that decision because they're like, well, they thought the mass was attached to my uterus. And so they said, well, we can try to save your uterus and just get rid of the mass, but you also have all these other fibroids throughout your uterus. And
Hmm.
even if we take away the one, there's no guarantee for the others. And so I had to wrestle with, do I get rid of it all or not? And that by itself was a struggle and grieving that loss too. That loss of that vision I had of bearing and carrying my own child, and
That
having to
it's a
grieve that
huge
too.
loss. It's a huge loss, especially for someone who wants to be a mother. Like I shared offline, like I thought I'd be a wine drinking soccer mom. I pictured running around with two crazy kids, like taking them to sports. And, I feel like for me, it's like this ultimate womb betrayal. We're told our whole life, like, don't get pregnant. It's easy to get pregnant. And then when you're ready to get pregnant, oh, it's actually not that easy. Oh, you got pregnant. Now you have to stay pregnant. No one talked about how like you could maybe not stay pregnant. And it's all these things and it's like, well, my womb has betrayed me. It's done nothing but like bring me sadness and grief. So you are being evicted. And like how lucky are we that we have those options where we both live?
Yeah.
But there is a huge grief with it. Like I want it gone, but then there's like this grief of like it's like the final part of like this chapter of wanting to be a mom. Like I've decided not to become like I mean everyone died in such a short period of time. I was like I can't, and like my husband also is not well. Like he's not unwell, but he's not well. Like he had a heart attack and quadruple bypass surgery, and he's type 1 diabetic. And in fact, a couple months ago, he had a stroke. And so knowing his health isn't going to get better because of his like prognosis, and having my mom, my father-in-law, and my dad die, I'm like, I just don't know if I want to become like a widow and like a single mom. And like my life just didn't turn out the way I thought it would. And I started setting goals and having, vision boards in my like late teens. Like when I was 19, I started working for Lululemon, and that's like over 20 years ago. And it's interesting that like all the grief has brought me to where I am. And it seems like your losses and challenges helped you step out of your former career and fully into where you are now.
Yeah. It was after my mom passed that it just got me thinking, well, number one, see my sister pass away at 39 and just being like, life's short. You never know how much life you have left. And then with my mom passing, I was like, you know what? What do I want to do with my life? What legacy do I want to leave this planet when I leave? What
Hmm.
impact do I want to have had on this world? And that's when I kind of had a conversation with God and was like, okay, God, I think I'm finally ready to step up and fulfill my life's mission.
And what is it? What's your life's mission?
And that's where I was like, okay, then put your spiritual gifts at the forefront.
And tell me more. What does that mean? What are you
So,
doing?
so what I do is I help people find soul level alignment. So helping people uncover the blueprint of their soul and understanding what their soul is wanting them to know, to be, to feel, to experience in this life right now. And understanding that and hearing that and seeing that amongst all the muck of the world, being able to tune in on that level.
Yeah. That's important work because what I've noticed, like I like to say my mom dying brought me back to life. She never got to retire. My father-in-law didn't get to retire. I watched these people work so hard for one day when they retire, and I was like, I'm not living my life like that. And I have this freedom of time and finances because I'm not putting my kids into soccer. I don't have kids. And what do I want? What's my purpose? Because before I didn't really feel like I had a purpose. I felt like I was just doing and doing the things that we're told to do. You talked about blueprint, soul alignment. I was doing the blueprint of what society tells vintage millennials to do, which is like go to school, go to university, get a degree, find a partner, get a job, have a baby, do the things. I'm like, that's not my path. What is it that I meant to do? And my mom dying brought me back to life to live this life of purpose. And I went about it like in a very like it's not for this conversation, but I spent a lot of money and time and was very dark to get to where I am. But the fact is that you're offering this to help people figure it out before their world throws it in their face.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, imagine getting to choose to change, not being like forced because life got really shitty.
Yep.
Like, like, you know what I mean?
Well, and funny you should say that because ironically, I had a conversation with God and it was like, okay, that's the focus I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there was still that part of me that was like, yeah, but my job is stable. I have stable income. Money that pays the bills. And so it was like I was having a hard time letting go of that 9 to 5 job to take that leap of faith to put all
Mm-hmm.
my focus on this business and doing this work. And guess what happened? Because I was taking my time to get out. I got laid off from that job. And I'm like, okay, God, I see what you're doing here. All right. I really am truly going to step into this.
Wow.
So sometimes if you're kind of dabbling your foot in there and it's time, the universe will kind of help give you a little nudge.
Oh man, I wholeheartedly believe that. And like, I mean, I get it on a cellular level. And also like, I really believe like when you ask for something and you want it and you're meant to do it, the universe delivers, and it's not always in a conventional, nice way.
Yep.
Sometimes it's really fucking messy and like, or like, your mom dying, or like you spend all your inheritance on traveling to Africa to track gorillas and open a children's center for at-risk youth because you think you're going to die and you want to make a difference. And then you're like, oh shit, I'm alive and now I'm in debt. That's my story, high level. But like, I think if you're listening to this, you don't have to live the life that someone told you is the way you live. Like we only have, well, maybe we have many lives depending on what you believe, but we right now at this time have one life. What are we doing? Like, what is that purpose? Like, are you even happy? I see all these people who actually, I have a lot of friends in the law profession. And there's a significant amount who just after the schooling and the work and the hours and the stress, they hate it and they blow up their lives and they completely switch careers. Like,
Yeah.
why are you working so hard and who are you making happy? Like, if it's not you, then what's the point? And yes, like you have to pay bills and whatnot, but there's lots of ways to make money. And even if you have a high paying career but if it's sucking the life out of you and like the hours are consuming you and you're not spending time with your family or it's impacting your health, like what is the point of having all the money? And money isn't a definition of success. I really think the true marker of success is happiness.
Amen to that.
And like regulated nervous system, no one talks about that. Like I do now, but like if your nervous system is dysregulated and you're miserable and you're anxious and like it's so chaotic, you're wasting your life. You're wasting your
Yeah.
life. And like it took me 39 years to actually figure out how to regulate my nervous system. My baseline, what I thought was regular, was actually so unhealthy. And maybe you're like, well, Blair, Jacqueline, I'm so miserable, but I don't know what I need to do. That's probably when they come to you. Like, what's my purpose? Right?
Yeah. And the cool thing is with the sessions that I do with people with angel readings, with Akashic record readings, which just to clarify for those who don't know what Akashic records are, is in simplified terms, it's like a spiritual library that holds all the information, experiences that our soul has ever experienced, past, present, future. And so in my sessions, we get to the heart of who you are on a soul level and understanding, okay, here's where you are right now with what you're navigating in life. What can help you right now to get regulated, to understanding what your baseline is, a healthy baseline is for you,
Mhm.
and also maybe what's the next step that you can take. If you have questions, especially for those who might be in a state of a crossroads
Right.
of, okay, I feel like I have this choice before me and I'm not sure which choice to take. That's where angelic help can come in to be like, well, here's some things to keep in mind for this path, and here's some things to keep in mind with this path, and let's see how that feels in your body.
I love that. I've had my Akashic records read a couple times and I've learned some pretty cool stuff. And aside from that, like I don't, I mean, your gifts are your gifts, but for me, I didn't really start having a spiritual awakening until after my mom died. I obviously like would do things like yoga, but it wasn't in a spiritual way. And I was doing traditional therapy, traditional grief therapy, and I actually turned to plant medicine. And I went to see two guides and I did a 4 day, 3 night like healing journey, which started to open me up to the world of spirituality. And I didn't know things like Akashic records, you know, spirit guides. I didn't journal every day. I didn't pull oracle cards. I didn't ask my guides. It took my mom dying, my dad dying. It took a lot of death and a lot of trauma for me to get there. Um, but like, it doesn't have to be this huge traumatic event that guides you here. Maybe it's just this podcast happens to be on and you're listening to it. Because I wish I would have discovered this side of existence sooner. I feel like if I would have, I probably could have been healthier. My nervous system could have been more regulated. Maybe I would have chosen sobriety sooner. I'm 7 years sober. And I chose that while my dad was dying because he lived with addiction. And I was like, I'm a lot like you and it's scary. But the fact is that there's people like you that exist who've been through the depths of hell, burying people, multiple people that you love, having health issues that required you to remove body parts. And now you're here being this person of service, helping people. I just want everyone out there to listen. Like, and like, I don't know her. I've never used her services. Like, I literally just believe in what you're doing because I know the pain you went through to some extent of losing your grandma and your mom and like people you love and the, not being able to have your own, birth your own child. Like, I get it. But what if we were proactive? What if we were proactive and like we learn about tools or people like Jacqueline and we're like, you know what? I want to explore that. Not someday, but maybe now because I don't want to wait till I hit a rock bottom.
Yeah. Why not have that support before you go through that
Fuck yeah. Like
and
seriously,
make
I'm
it
all about
easier when you
proactive
go through
shit.
that?
Like let's like here are the tools. Like maybe, maybe it's you need to drink more water. Maybe it's you need to get your Akashic records read. But like we have these tools and we don't need to be in such a reactive state. So I don't know. I think that's really cool that you do that. And you really fully stepped into it after all of this grief or like while you're grieving, like after these losses. Just a couple like final questions. Do you find like that, like your mom or your sister or your grandma show up more than others? And like, is there a consistent message coming through just for you?
I feel like my sister and my mom come through quite a bit for me. My grandma does too. But I feel like those two tend to come up a lot when I'm doing a lot of the work that I do. Not necessarily in my client sessions, during my client sessions, but like when I'm working on things kind of on the back end or coming up with new trainings or activations for my clients or for an event that I'm doing. And I think some of it's been helpful. I feel like the main message that keeps coming through with that is you're on the right track, keep going.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes people in this earth existence don't get it. And some people think that I'm crazy, that I'm like, okay, you've gone off the deep end. And it's like, no, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And so it's helpful having that reassurance come in every once in a while to be like, okay, yeah, what you're doing is legit and it is true and accurate and keep going.
I think that's really beautiful. Do you have, do you pull oracle cards? Like, do you
I
ever pull
can.
cord? Okay, I was just gonna say, do you have a favorite deck?
I do. I do have a favorite deck. I pull cards every once in a while, as feel guided during
Yeah.
a session. But so
I love,
this one's
okay.
my favorite one.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so that was actually one of my first decks ever. I start off with like Gabby Bernstein decks because she's kind of like the like whet your appetite for like spirituality and then you kind of go deeper. That's what I'm like. Like Gabby's great, but she's more mainstream. But someone got me that deck and I love it. But I actually like my morning routine almost every morning. I meditate and I ask my guides what message do I need today, and I pull a card and I pull from the Sacred Rebels deck from Alana Fairchild. And I really, really like that deck. And what I learned from one of my guides, like real, like human guides, like in person, is that like the more you use a deck, the more powerful it gets. I don't know if that's true or not, but every time I stray and go to a different deck, because sometimes I get gifts of decks. Like I have like 20 decks, and I always end up just using the same one, because I always come back to it. Like I feel like I have like such a tie to it. That's just like
Well,
is
I
curious.
think I think there's multiple things that come into play with that, with regards to why we might feel guided toward one deck over another.
Hmm.
And I think some of it too, well, like I said, I think there's multiple aspects to it. I think some of it is the energy and the intention that whoever created the deck have inserted into that deck. That energy, that intention that's been attached to that deck.
Hmm.
And then also to like what way that you learn or what resonates with you the easiest and the deepest. Because I find that angels and spirit and guardians want to get the message to you on like the most deep, impactful way possible. And
Yeah.
so often like that can be why one deck of cards resonates more because it hits home.
Yeah. I love that. That was just like a personal question because I
Yeah.
figured you'd have a deck that you liked. We went all over the place today. We talked about like life, death, health, your work. I think you have probably a lot of advice you can choose. So I want to open this up to you choosing what you feel called to share. But I ask our guests usually at the end of every episode to share a piece of advice for someone who's going through something similar, and you've gone through a few different paths.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to leave it high level. Like, what advice is coming to you for someone who's listening to this? Maybe they're new to the world of spirituality. Maybe they're going through losing their sister and parents and illness. Maybe they're struggling with fertility.
So two things come to mind. The first one being take it day by day. And I know that sounds cliche, and I know a lot of people say it, but really, truly, take it day by day, like one day at a time. And especially if you're going through grief or in a dark place, uh, one day at a time. And even with spirituality, sometimes we can get so caught up in the future or, oh, I want to be this, I want to experience this, that, okay, well, let's also bring that back to being present.
Mm-hmm.
So taking day by day, but also taking a moment to just kind of center yourself. I like to say bring your awareness to your heart space. It's like at the base of your sternum, just below your heart chakra, and just kind of bring your awareness there
Mm-hmm.
and just ask yourself, what is my focus for today?
I love that.
And that helps to kind of get out of your mind, get out of the emotions, to just be like, what's the one focus for today?
That's such a grounding question. I think that's beautiful. Everything you need to know about Jacqueline, well, it's not in the show notes, but the links to her website and social media are in the show notes along with her bio. So I want to invite you to connect with her. I don't know. It feels like I've known you for a really long time, but it's only been like 45 minutes. It's weird, right? I mean, good weird. I mean, only weird is good. Thank you for joining me today on this podcast. I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
And thank you to everyone who tuned in to another episode of Resilient AF. You are not alone. You'll get through the hard stuff. Let us be that lighthouse in the storm. And just remember, friends, you are Resilient AF. That's a wrap for another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. And thank you for listening. Are you feeling inspired to bounce forward?
Let's connect at theglobalresilienceproject.com, where you can read many stories of resilience, buy our books, shop our clothing line, learn more about how to strengthen your resilience muscle, be empowered, and more.
Remember, friends, you are Resilient AF.